Okay, so we are here today with Leroy Rollins, who I hired last year to help me put on 20 pounds of muscle, and very successfully. But today I want to talk about heavy lifting and heavy compound lifting in particular in relation to bodybuilding. When I started lifting in the early 2000s, squats, deads, sets of 5 or sets of 3 seemed completely alien to most of the bodybuilding community. Everyone was doing body part splits, lots of machines, sets of 10 to 12, one leg day a week max, and
foolish.
Yeah, and so things have definitely changed for the better since then, but it seems like the aversion to heavy compound lifts has lingered, at least in parts of the bodybuilding community. So have you seen change in the bodybuilding world yourself since you started, and where is it at today in terms of like how people train?
Yep, for sure. Definitely with, everything you said at the beginning there, right? Like there's, for so long was an aversion to the big heavy stuff, right? It was gonna, make your waist blocky, or it was gonna, get you hurt and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't conducive to hypertrophy, which at the end of the day, bodybuilding is about building muscle and gaining size. And a lot of, people, and I think even some of the science back then was like, you don't need to do the heavy low rep work. Stick to the 3 sets of 10, right? Like that's something that I tell a lot of my clients is that, I'm not a 3 sets of 10 guy for a lot of things. You can see it in my own training and a lot of my clients' training. I am, I'm a believer in the hard and heavy stuff. Some of that's anecdotal of my own experience. But a lot of it is, the way the science has evolved, right? We now know, we used to think that the 3 sets of 10 was your hypertrophy range, and then you had the strength range, and then the endurance, or the, what was the other term? Like, endurance, right? 15 plus reps was like endurance. Whereas now, the evidence has really shown that basically anywhere from 5 to even 30 reps, as long as it's taken in close proximity to failure, can produce hypertrophy. So then that poses the question of, okay, what can I do within that rep range? Because it's such a broad spectrum now, from an exercise selection standpoint, is there certain things that I could maybe do lower rep work that is going to help me build muscle? And on the flip side, higher rep work that's going to help me build muscle. So for myself, I deeply enjoy lifting heavy. And that's something that, I spoke about on social media the other day, and it got a lot of positive feedback, was that you need to enjoy your training. And whether someone wants to say it's optimal or it's the perfect setup or the best setup, a lot of that comes down to opinion, and people forget that, right? I was merely speaking to the point of I train in a manner that I like, that I can do long term, that will get me results. And at the end of the day, if I commit to that for 1, 2, 5, 10 years, I'm going to build muscle. I'm going to become a better bodybuilder. So for me, the big heavy stuff, your squat, your bench, your deadlift, rows, like those big hard compound movements, I really like doing a set of 3 to 5 on a deadlift. I think from a strength standpoint, obviously the low rep work is going to get you stronger. That over time will transition to building new muscle, right? I'm a firm believer that if you can deadlift 300 pounds today, and in a year you can deadlift 400 pounds, you've probably built some muscle, right? And if you really like doing it, you're just going to get so much more enjoyment out of it, right? Like if someone was to program me, deadlifts 3 sets of 15, A, I'm not going to like it, and B, I would argue that, from a technique standpoint, from a potential injury standpoint, that's when you're going to start to run into problems. It's a big movement. It's a hard movement. It's easy for things to go south as things fatigue. Whereas if I really, I'm going to use the word commit to like a hard set of 5, get in, get out, my technique is good, I lift heavy, I'm passionate about it, I'm fired up about it, that's going to do me more than, a set of 15 where I don't enjoy it, things could get sloppy, I could get hurt, and then, make up the other, higher rep work elsewhere in the workout.
I find if I'm doing like a set of 10 or 12 or 15 deads or something like that, the last like 7 reps, I'm just like trying to get over with. So you're not focusing on the form as much, right?
Yep. And those big things people forget is that they're very nervous, like CNS fatiguing. So that's when you can, something like squats. Like if you take a hard set of squats for north of 15 reps, right? Again, like we spoke about at the beginning there, right? You're still trying to take it to close to failure, right? So if I'm doing 15, 20 rep squats, I'm going to start huffing and puffing. I'm going to start to get that fatigue in my core, rounded spine, like that. That's when you start to run into problems. Whereas we can do that higher rep work on a leg extension or walking lunges and get this, the desired effect, but at a very, very, very low cost of injury, risk, right?
My personal theory is that doing the heavy stuff builds the work capacity for you to do the medium intensity and the light intensity stuff at a higher level.
Yep.
That's the way I see it. Like if I can do, a heavy set of bench for, 275 or whatever for 3, well then I can do dumbbell benches and chest flies at way heavier weights doing my sets of 15 or 20 or whatever.
Oh, for sure. And there's a lot of benefit to getting good at different rep ranges too, right? If you can take that 275 bench for a set of 3, and then when you go down in load, even doing the same movement, right? Like I'm a big fan of what's kind of referred to as a top set and a back off set approach, right? Where you'll do a heavy set of 3 to 5, for example, for 275 on your bench, and then you drop down to 225 for a set of 10 to 12, right? Where you're getting 2 different rep ranges, 2 different failure points, 2 different kinds of stimulus, right? Different muscle fiber recruitment, all that stuff. And that's where, it's so much more to consider than just the rep range. Because sometimes that's all people will see is, oh, you did a set of 5. Okay, but you didn't see, what all else that can encompass from a not only hypertrophy standpoint, but from a strength standpoint, a performance standpoint, an enjoyment standpoint. Again, like there's so much more that goes into it than just the set and rep.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask you, was how you program your heavy lifting personally, which it sounds like you kind of answered. I mean, do you ever use like RPE or linear progression or percentages to guide your progression? Like, how do you normally like say when it's time to go up, when it's not, or whatever?
So this is something that, people will argue with me about because I keep it simple. I think right now, and by right now I mean kind of in recent years, there's this idea that you need to like overcomplicate things and overanalyze things, and you've got your RPE and your periodization and linear and DUP and like all this kind of stuff. And I really think it's not only confusing for most people, and this is coming from me, right? Who's a coach, who's a competitor, who's been doing this for much of my adult life. Like I'm knocking on 10 years of like serious training now. Like I'm not new, but I find it exhausting. I really do. So for me, when it comes to programming, like I mentioned earlier, the top set, back off set's kind of what I've been drawn to for the bigger movements, accessory stuff, if you want to call it that. Like today, for example, my chest work was an incline Smith press, top set and a back off set. So I did a set of, I think it was 6 to 10. That's my heavy set. And then a moderate 10 to 15. Then I did some dumbbell work, some machine work as accessory stuff. And those were kind of in the typical moderate rep ranges. On the last set of the flies, I threw a drop set in just, to get a little bit more blood flow. And again, that's a movement where injury risk is very low. So you can take it to failure, not just close proximity to failure. When it comes to progression, I basically have my sets and reps that I'm aiming for. So if I'm going to do 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps, if I hit the top end of that rep range for a week or 2, I'm going to add some weight to the bar, right? I'm very intuitive with my training. I kind of use the term to a lot of people, if it's there, it's there, and I'll take it, right? So if I'm going to do a set of 5 and, on my plan, because I record everything, it was supposed to be 200 pounds. And I do, I'm warming up, and I do 200, and it felt really good, I'll go up that day, right? I'm very smart with how I kind of structure things, and if it's not there, then I won't push it, and I'll probably just do what was quote unquote programmed. But I'm not afraid to, if I got a set of 5 on tap and I'm feeling a good set of 3 today because I feel good, I slept good, I'm well fed, I'm ready to go, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for it because, again, I like it.
How do you respond to people who argue that, we kind of mentioned this before, but, heavy deads, heavy squats, even maybe barbell rows are too risky, unnecessary, can hurt the back too much, and that, people, so it's safer to stick to machines and hypertrophy rep range, all that. Like, why not play it safe?
The nice way or the honest way?
The honest way.
Again, whether it's, observational, anecdotal, whether it's what the science says or not, I look at physiques and I go, okay, what built that? And there's physiques that have been built by machines and cables, there's free weights, there's barbells, there's all kinds. The individuals that I'm drawn to with how they look and how they train, I reflect that, right, and how I do things, right? So I like seeing the guys that deadlift 500 and 600 pounds, and the guys that put 400 and 500 pounds on their back for a squat and just, they go all out to it. I'm just drawn to that, and I see their physiques.
There's a different look, I think.
I can't prove it, man. And I've talked to my coach about this, who's coached over 100 natural pro athletes. He's coached 9 natural world champions. And I asked him, I said, do you see a difference in the guys that do the hard, heavy compound work versus the guys that maybe are a little bit more reserved and they're doing more machines or cables or, even less strenuous free weight work, right? You take like a chest supported dumbbell row versus like a full on barbell row or a weighted pull up. And, he agreed, right? And how that happens or what's causing it, we don't know. And that's something that I don't think has really been proven. But again, my eyes tell me that there's something to it.
Yeah.
And if that's the look I'm going for, which as a natural bodybuilder, that's the look I am going for, right? And I posted a photo of my back the other day, and what transpired from the first photo to the current photo. And I took my deadlift. I'd hit 600 pounds, which I'd never done before. I did a lot of weighted pull-ups. I did bent over rows where spinal loading. Don't do that, right? And I mean, the look is there, right? It did what I wanted it to do. And don't get me wrong, there's 100 other factors when it comes to like nutrition, recovery, sleep, supplementation, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to training, what I did, could I have done it elsewhere? Like in other manners? Maybe, but I don't think so.
I don't think you would have got the same results.
I don't. I honestly don't. I think, like we said earlier,
you look like a guy who could fight a bear, like at his
a small black bear.
Whereas a lot of the bodybuilder types just look like puffy clouds.
And that's something that, again, I don't know if we can really prove, but I genuinely think there's a different look between the athletes that do more pump work and metabolite work and all that kind of stuff versus the athletes that go in there a little bit more hard and heavy style of training, right? I think there's something to it. And when I compete again and I have actual stage shots that I can compare to, I can look at that and say, okay, from 2019 when I last competed to 2022, what is the visual difference and what did I do in that time frame? And I can scroll back through Instagram because I've documented it all, man. And you can see exactly what I've done from a training standpoint. And you will see a lot of deadlifting, you will see a lot of squatting, and you will see a lot of barbells.
Yeah, I don't have any other questions. Do you have any other final things you want to say?
I guess closing thoughts is really that I hate seeing people overcomplicate it, because I see people get discouraged by, if they don't have all the fancy equipment. Like, I had a conversation, I kid you not, and this breaks my heart. I had a conversation with a 19-year-old kid. He'd been just in the gym 5 or 6 months, and he was sad that his school gym didn't have all the Prime Fitness handles. And he genuinely, how am I going to grow back without Prime Fitness handles? And I never thought about that when I was coming up, right? And I think part of, for those that don't know, I train at home. I've got a decent little home gym set up, and it's very basic. I've got cables, I've got machines and stuff, but I don't have nearly what a full-on commercial gym would have. And I kind of like it like that, because it's just the basic raw stuff that when I was first getting into the gym, that's all we had access to. We didn't have all this fancy stuff now, right? Whereas now you've got Prime and Cybex and all these different manufacturers, and they're trying to make all the machines as optimized as they can from like a strength profile and mechanical resistance and all this stuff. And I think it really, I see it. I have conversations with people where they get discouraged because they don't have all the fancy stuff. And I'm like, man, if you had a barbell, a bench, a set of dumbbells, and that's it, and you did it for 10 years, you will be jacked. I promise you. And I believe that. I really do.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks.
No problem.
That was good.